Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is the part 8 of the inventory tutorial series that I'm doing in this channel, and in this part we're going to create the player inventory widget. So in the last part we created the slots container widget so we can have all the slots in a simple container, and now we're going to create the player inventory widget that will use the slots container widget. But before, if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. That helps me a lot, and of course you don't lose any new content that I will post in this channel. And without further ado, let's start. Okay, so let's go to the widgets folder, inventory, and here let's create the player inventory widget. So right click, go to user interface, widget blueprint, select user widget, and I will name this WB player inventory like this. So let's open this to start the design. So first let's add a size box. So just search for size box here. Let's add a border as well. So search for border and add on the size box. And to see the actual size of this size box, let's change this option from fill screen to desired on screen like this. And let's change the size of this size box. So just select this, enable the width and height override, and for the width I will put 500 and 600 for the height like this. So we have this panel. So now let's select the border, and of course if you have an image for the background of the inventory, you can just set this here by selecting the border and open this brush options here. You can set the image here, but for now I will just change the color of this. But first let's change this name here, so I will name this inventory border, background actually, like this. And let's change the color of this. You can change the color by changing this brush color here. So for the inventory here, I will make this a little bit darker like this, and 0.5 in the alpha here, so 0.5 here, so it is a bit transparency as you can see. Let's hit OK. So now let's add an overlay to this. So just search for overlay. Let's add this on this inventory background like this. Here in the overlay, I will put 0 on the padding. So just put 0 here like this. And now we can start adding things on the inventory. So first, I will add a text up here just to say inventory. So let's search for text here. Let's get the text and add on the overlay. So this text I will put in the middle, in the upper part here as well. This size I will put maybe 18, something like this. For the text here, I will just put inventory. This will be a static text. So let's type inventory here like this, and let's add a bit of padding on the top. So maybe 20 like this. So we have this text now. Okay, so now let's add the slots container that we created in the last episode. So first let's add a size box so we can change the size of the slots container. So let's add a size box here. Let's add on the overlay like this, and now let's search for the slot container width that we created. So the name is WB slots container, as you may remember. So let's just get this and add in the size box. And now let's change a little bit this size box. So I want this slot container to be in the bottom part of this panel here, of the main panel. So let's select the size box and let's change the horizontal alignment to the middle and the vertical alignment to the bottom like this. Now let's change the width and the height for this. So let's enable the width and height. And for this, I will put 450 in the width and 200 in the height, like this. So we have this slots container here. So all the slots of the player's inventory will be in this slot container here. So let's add just a little bit of padding in the bottom part here. So here in the padding, you can just expand this and add only in the bottom. So I will put maybe 20 here, let's see. Or maybe 40 like this. There we go. So we have this slots container here. And that's all that we need for this slot container to work. So now let's compile and save. And actually before, let's change the name of this size box because we're going to need to change this a little bit in the code. So let's change the name of this to main slots container like this, and I'm naming this main slots container because of course you can have more than one slot container in the widget. So maybe in your game you have like a backpack, so you want another slots container here in this part, so this will be the main slots for the inventory, and up here will be the slots for the backpack or something like this. So that's why I'm naming this main slots container like this one here. So the size main slots container, and actually let's rename this as well. So this will be the main slots container. So we actually need to rename this here. So let's rename this to main slots size box, like something like this. There you go. So main slot size box, and this of course main slots container. Let's compile and save, and let's make this main slot size box here a variable as well. So just select this main slot size box and mark this is variable option here, because as I mentioned before, we need to do something with this size box in the code. So now let's compile and save. So okay, this is the design for the player's inventory. It is simple because of course what matters here is the code. So of course you can select the borders here and change the image, change the colors, everything you want. I'm just trying to show the code. So this is the basic design. So now let's start doing things on the graph. So let's do this. Okay, so now let's go to the graph here, and first we need to add some variables. So as you can see here, we have the main slot size box that we mark as a variable, as you may remember. So this here, the main slots size box, as you can see, we mark it as a variable. And we have the main slots container, and this is a variable because by default, widgets that you created, when you add here, the widget will be marked as a variable by default. So as you can see, this is marked, so that's why we have this variable here. So now let's add 3 more variables. So let's add one variable here, and the name of this will be main slots container width, like this. And of course I'm naming this main because you may have more slots container in this width, like a backpack slots container up here or something like this. That's why I'm naming this main slots container width, and the type of this will be float. I will explain this when we get to the code, but first let's just create this. Let's create another one for the height. So main slots container height, like this. Of course this will be a float as well. And now let's create one more variable, and this will be the inventory. So I will name this main inventory because of course this will be the inventory of the main slots here. If you have a backpack up here, you need to create another variable for the backpack inventory, because of course it is 2 separated inventories, it's not the same one. So let's change the type of this main inventory to, of course, the component that we created, so BPC inventory and object reference. Let's compile and save, and just to organize a little bit, let's put this here in a category. So let's select this variable, and here in the category let's type main slots container. So let's type main slots container here, like this. So this is in this category, and let's put the height as well. So the main slots height, we just need to select this, and here in the category we just need to select the main slots container, like this. Let's compile and save, and now let's start the code. Okay, so why I'm creating the width and height variable here? So basically I will put this player inventory in the main inventories widget that we're going to create in the next episode, and basically I want to control the size of this slot container through the main widget. So To do this, we need to change this width override and height override of this main slot size box, and we need to do this through code with the values of these variables here that we're going to set in the main inventories widget. So that's why I need these variables here. And of course, if we want to change the values of this variable, we need to expose these variables to the main widget. And to do this, we just need to select the variable here and check this instance editable and expose on spawn like this. Let's do the same for the main slots container height. Let's select this and just mark the instance editable and expose on spawn like this. And now let's start the code. So let me just compile and save here. And we're going to do this in the pre-construct because the pre-construct will work in the editor as well. So let's delete the construct here and the event tick, and let's do this in the pre-construct. So to change these values here, the width override and the height override of this main slot size box, of course, we need a reference to this. So we mark this as a variable, so we have this reference here. We just need to get this reference like this, and we just need to type set width override like this. Let's connect from the pre-construct event like this. And the new width override here, of course, is this main slots container width. So let's get a reference to this and connect here. And to get a reference, you just need to hold Control and drag the variable. And to set the reference, you just need to hold Alt on the keyboard and drag the variable. So you have a set node like this. So just hold Control and drag a reference to this and connect here in this in width override. And of course, we need to change the height as well. So let's drag a reference from the main slot size box here, and let's type set height override like this. Let's connect after the width here. And of course, the value here will be this variable. So let's get a reference and connect here. Let me just add a pin here to organize this better. And to add a pin, you just need to double click on the line to add a reroute like this. And there you go. This is basically what we need to change the size of this in another widget that will put this player inventory. So now let me just select all this and comment setting main slots container width like this. Of course, if you have more slots container here as an example for a backpack, you could do this after doing this. So you just need to connect from here and do for the others slots container as well. So now let's compile and save and create more events. Okay, so now if we go to the design here, as you can see, the main slot size box is 0, 0 in the width and height, and that's because this variable has 0 by default. So let's change this. So just select the width here, scroll down until you find the default value. Let's change this to 450. And let's do the same for the height. So just select the height, and here in the default value, let's put 200 like this. Let's compile and save. And now if we go back to the design, as you can see, we have the values back here. So now let's go to the graph and create the other events that we need. Okay, so now we need to create a custom event to set the main inventory component in the variables here. So as you can see, we have a main inventory variable here, which is the type of BPC inventory, and we need to set this. So we can set this variable through another widget without having to create a custom event, but as you may remember from the last episode, we need to set the inventory in the slots container as well. So the slots container need the inventory to create the slots, so we need to set on this. So because of that, we will create a custom event. So right click and type custom event on the graph here. So just add custom event, and I will rename this to set main inventory. And of course, again, this main is because you may have another slots container in this, so you may have a backpack here, so you will need to create another event like this for the other slots container that you may have in your widget. So for now we just have the main, so let's create the set main inventory custom event here. And now let's set this variable. So as I mentioned before, to set a variable you just need to hold Alt on the keyboard and drag the variable to create a set node of this variable. Let's connect the execution pin here, and now we need a inventory to set as a value of this variable. So for this we're going to create an input in this event. So just select the custom event here, and here in the inputs let's create one input, and this of course will be the inventory, and the type of this of course will be the type of the component for the inventory. So BPC inventory component object reference, like this. Let's compile and save, and when we call this event through another widget we will pass the inventory and will be here. So now we just need to connect this on this value here of the main inventory in this widget. So as I mentioned before, we need to set the inventory in the slots container as well. So let me just open the slots container here so you can see. So let's open the WB slots container. This is the slots container that we created in the last episode. So let's go to the graph. And here, as you can see, we have a inventory variable as well. And we don't have any event to set this. But because this is a variable inside the slots container and we have the slots container reference here, we can directly set this variable. We just need to get the reference for the slots container, and as I mentioned before, because this is a user created widget, this is set as a variable by default. So the main slot container, we already marked this as a variable. Actually it comes by default checked. So we have this reference here, we just need to drag this, and from this reference we just need to type set inventory to set this variable here. So now let's connect after setting the inventory in this widget, so the main inventory. Now let's connect here and set the inventory as well in the main slots container. So let's connect this here. So I hope you can understand the communication here. So we will call this event through a main inventories widget, and we're going to pass the inventory component. So now we are setting this inventory in the main inventory in the player inventory, like this, in the main inventory variable inside the player inventory, and we are setting this inventory as well in the slots container. So this is the communication that we are doing here. So now let's select all this and comment setting main inventory, like this. Let's compile and save. And of course, if you have some questions on this, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll try to help you out. So now we just need to create one more event, and this event will be to update the slots. So let's do this event now. Okay, so to update the slots of this component here is really simple, because if we go to the slots container that we created in the last episode, we have this custom event here, the draw slots, and this event will clear all the children, all the slots that is a children of this slot container, and we'll create new ones with the new information. So now we just need to create an event here in the player inventory, and in this event we just need to call the draw slots in the slots container. So as I mentioned before, we have a reference to the slots container, so we just need to drag from this, and from this reference we just need to call this event, the draw slots. So let's drag from this and type draw slots, like this. So now we just need to create a custom event to call this from the player inventory. So here let's right click and type custom event, like this, and let's name this update main slots, and again main slots because you may have another slots container in your player widget, like this. So this is all that we need to do. We created all the logic to draw new slots in the slots container. So here is the logic. We created this in the last episode. So here in the player inventory, we just need to call this draw slots function. So that's all. Let's select this and let's name this update main. Let me put like this, main slots, and there we go. This is basically it for the player inventory. So now we have a way to set the size of this through another widget, and this widget will be the main inventory slots that we're going to create in the next episode. So we have a way to do this. We have a way to set the inventory. So we are setting the inventory here in the player inventory, so in this variable, and we are setting the inventory in the slots container as well. So we have a way to do this, and now we have a way to update the slots with the correct information, because of course we are connecting the inventory in the slots container as well. So now we have the player inventory finished, at least for now. Of course, later in the series we're going to do more here for the drop functionality, but for now this is all that we're going to do in this video. And that's all for this video. So we created the player inventory widget that has all the logic to work with the slots container that we created in the last episode. So that's all. So in the next episode, we're going to create the main inventories widget. So I need a main inventories widget because of course we need two widgets. We need a player inventory widget, and we need another widget to display another inventory. So maybe a chest inventory or a store, loot, something like this. So basically in the screen we will have two inventories, one for the player and one for any other inventory that we'll have. So basically when I open both of these inventory, I need to focus on both, and the easiest way to do this is by creating a main widget and put both of these widgets, the player widget and the general widget, in the same widget. So that's why I'm going to create a main inventories widget in the next episode, and this will be the last widget that we're going to create for the inventory. So after this we're going to start create more functionality in the inventory component to add items, to drop items, to do the drag and drop in another slot. So we're going to start creating this later in the series, but in the next episode we're going to create the main inventories widget. So if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. This helps me a lot, and of course thank you for watching. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.